A soaked little girl tried to sell her bike in the rain, not for toys, not for school, but to keep her pregnant mother alive. The man who stopped to help her had no idea. The woman lying under that tree was carrying his father's darkest secret. Rain fell in sheets over a quiet Portland neighborhood, blurring headlights and turning sidewalks into rivers. A small red bike stood alone by the curb, its cardboard "for sale" sign bending under the downpour. Beside it, a little girl in a faded red sweater held her ground, shivering but determined. She kept glancing toward a distant oak tree where her mother lay hidden from the world, too weak to stand. Cars drove past without slowing, until one black SUV paused. Inside sat Adrian Cole, the polished son of America's most feared CEO, a man raised in privilege, kept in line by power, and trained to look straight ahead. But this time, he looked sideways. And the moment he locked eyes with that little girl, the entire legacy he was meant to inherit began to crack. Before we dive in, if you love powerful real-life stories, hit like, click subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Your engagement helps us share more stories that deserve to be heard. The rain had not yet started, but the sky was bruised with the promise of it, thick gray clouds rolling over Portland like a warning. Morning traffic hummed along the main streets, but on the edge of town, where suburban lawns met old oak trees and quiet sidewalks, the world felt unusually still. Adrian Cole stepped out of the airport sedan and inhaled deeply. The air smelled different here, cleaner than London, lighter, softer. He adjusted the strap of his leather bag on his shoulder and handed a polite nod to the driver who had come to pick him up. He looked immaculate, as always. Navy suit, tailored coat draped over one arm, watch polished to a shine. Everything about him screamed discipline. Years of being groomed to inherit an empire carved into his posture. But something in his eyes betrayed the truth. He wasn't ready to step into the cage waiting for him downtown. "Your father wants you at headquarters by noon," the driver reminded him. Of course he did. Edward Cole didn't believe in rest or tenderness or mistakes, especially from his only son. Adrian forced a thin smile. "I'll be there." But inside, he felt the familiar churn of pressure pushing in on all sides, asking him to become a man he never fully recognized. He climbed into the back seat, leaned his head against the window, and watched Portland slide past. His city, his family's legacy, his burden. He closed his eyes for a moment, and miles away, under the same darkening sky, a 7-year-old girl tugged a red bicycle across a cracked sidewalk. Lila Johnson's shoes were soaked through from stepping in puddles the night before, but she didn't complain. Her mother always said complaining didn't change anything. What changed things was courage, work, sacrifice. Lila dragged the bike until she reached the large oak tree where her mother lay on her side, head resting against the rough bark. Marie Johnson looked smaller than she ever had, face pale, lips cracked, one hand protectively over her swollen stomach. "Mommy, I'm going now," Lila whispered. Marie opened her eyes slowly. She tried to sit up, but pain cut through her like a blade and she winced. "Baby, you don't have to do this. We'll figure something out." Lila shook her head with the stubbornness of someone who'd grown up too fast. "Mommy says we don't beg, we trade." Marie's throat tightened. She hadn't realized her daughter remembered that. "Lila, it's cold out there." "I'll be fast," she promised. "You need food. You haven't eaten in 3 days." Marie blinked hard, fighting tears. She tried to keep her voice steady. "Lila, sweetheart, please don't." But the little girl was already walking away, pulling the bike with both hands, determination stamped across her tiny face. Marie pressed both palms to her belly. "Please hold on," she whispered to the unborn life inside her. "I'm trying." Back in the SUV, Adrian checked his watch for the 10th time. The rain began, soft at first, then heavier, streaking down the windows. He leaned forward. "Can we take Hawthorne? Might be faster." The driver hesitated. "Sir, the weather's bad. That road floods." "Let's try it," he insisted. He wasn't sure why. Something in him just didn't want the usual route. As the car turned down the quieter street, he noticed a small figure near the curb. A child, standing alone in the rain, a red bike beside it with a flimsy cardboard "for sale" sign taped crookedly to the frame. "What in the world?" he murmured. The girl wiped her face with the back of her hand, shivering but standing tall, like she was defending something valuable. "Stop the car," he said sharply. The driver slowed. "Sir, we don't have time. Stop the car." The SUV rolled to a halt. Adrian stepped out, rain immediately soaking through his hair and jacket. The girl stiffened at the sight of him, gripping the bike handle as if he might try to steal it. He crouched so he wouldn't tower over her. "Hi," he said gently. "What's your name?" She swallowed hard. "Lila." "That's a beautiful name." His voice was warm, cautious. "Are you selling this bike?" Her chin lifted bravely. "Yes, sir." "Why?" She hesitated. Then, with heartbreaking simplicity, she answered, "My pregnant mommy hasn't eaten in 3 days. I need to get her food. Mommy says we don't beg, we trade." The world seemed to go silent around them. Rainwater slid down Adrian's face, but it wasn't the rain that made his chest tighten. "Where is your mom, Lila?" She pointed toward the tree in the distance, barely visible through the downpour. "There." Adrian followed the direction of her finger, and what he saw slammed into him like a physical blow. A woman. Pregnant, unmoving, drenched. He didn't think. He ran. "Sir, your suit!" the driver shouted. Adrian ignored him. He reached the tree, dropped to his knees, and gently rolled Marie toward him. Her skin was cold, her breathing shallow. "Ma'am? Can you hear me?" She didn't respond. "Driver!" Adrian shouted. "Call the hospital, now!" He lifted Marie into his arms, shockingly light, and carried her toward the SUV. Lila ran behind him, sobbing. "Please don't let her die, sir, please." He held Marie tighter. "I won't, I promise." What would you do if you found a child trying to sell her last possession just to feed her mom? The ER doors slid open the moment Adrian burst through, Marie's limp body in his arms, and Lila clinging to his coat. Nurses hurried toward them, voices sharp, footsteps echoing on polished floors. "Pregnant female, unresponsive. BP dropping. Get her on the gurney." "Sir, we need her. Please, step back." Adrian lowered Marie onto the waiting bed, his hands trembling as nurses swarmed around her. He forced himself to step away, though every instinct screamed to stay by her side. Lila grabbed his hand with both of hers. "Please, sir," she whispered, soaked hair plastered to her cheeks. "Please don't let them take my mommy." He bent down until his forehead touched hers. "I'm right here," he said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." Her tiny fingers tightened around his. The nurse rolled Marie away, disappearing through double doors, leaving the hallway suddenly too quiet. Adrian felt the absence like a punch to the gut. He guided Lila toward a row of plastic chairs. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The air smelled like sanitizer and fear. Lila's knees were shaking. Adrian shrugged off his coat and wrapped it around her shoulders. She burrowed into it instinctively. She was breathing weird, and she was too tired to stand up this morning. Adrian listened,
jaw tightening. "She told me not to sell the bike, but I had to. I had to help her." He swallowed. "You did help her. You saved her life today." Leela's lip trembled. She wasn't used to praise. She wasn't used to being seen. The automatic doors hissed open, letting in a rush of cold air and a pair of EMTs pushing another stretcher. Leela jumped at the sound. Adrian instinctively shifted closer, a protective move he didn't even realize he was making. A nurse walked toward them, tablet in hand. "Are you family?" Adrian opened his mouth, then closed it. Leela looked up at him, wide-eyed, waiting. "No," he said finally, "but I brought her in and I'm responsible for the child until her mother is stable." The nurse assessed him. Wetsuit, expensive watch, and a little girl gripping his sleeve like a lifeline. "All right," she said. "Let me brief you." They stepped aside. Leela stayed glued to Adrian's leg. Her mom is severely malnourished, dehydrated, low blood pressure, and the pregnancy is high risk. She needs monitoring and immediate nutritional support. Adrian felt something cold seep into his bones. How long would she have lasted out there? Another day? Maybe less. Leela heard it. A soft, broken sound slipped out of her, half sob, half gasp, and Adrian instantly knelt to catch her. Hey, he whispered, pulling her gently into his arms. "You did everything you could." The girl's voice cracked. "What if the baby dies too?" Adrian froze. The baby. There was another life in all this suffering. "I won't let that happen. I promise." Leela buried her face in his soaked dress shirt. Adrian didn't care. He held her until her shaking eased, but just as he felt her calm, his phone began to vibrate violently in his pocket. "Dad." The screen flashed with Edward Cole's name. Again and again. Adrian tightened his jaw. He knew what waited behind that call. Anger. Accusations. The familiar voice that could make him feel like a failure without even trying. "Are you going to answer it?" Leela asked. Adrian stared at the phone. His father was expecting him in a boardroom right now. 12 executives sitting around a mahogany table, waiting for the prodigal son to return and prove he belonged in the empire. But he wasn't in a boardroom. He was kneeling on a hospital floor with a shivering little girl who had just tried to trade her bike for her mother's survival. "Not right now," Adrian said. He shoved the phone back into his pocket, and for the first time in years, he meant it. 20 minutes passed, maybe 30. Nurses drifted in and out. Leela refused to sleep, her eyes glued to the doors that had swallowed her mother. A social worker appeared. A woman with a kind but firm expression, clipboard tucked under her arm. "Hi, sweetheart," she said gently to Leela. "My name is Miss Vaughn. I'm here to make sure you're safe while we help your mom." Instant fear flooded Leela's face. She reached for Adrian's hand with both of hers. "No," she whispered. "No, no!" The social worker crouched. "Honey, I'm not here to hurt you. I just need to find out where you'll be staying tonight." "With my mommy," Leela insisted. Miss Vaughn hesitated. "Your mommy can't take care of you right now. She needs medical help." Leela's eyes went wild. Adrian could feel her panic like a physical thing. He stood. "She's not going anywhere," he said firmly. The social worker blinked. "Sir? And you are?" Adrian didn't hesitate. "Adrian Cole." Recognition flashed across her face. The Cole name carried weight, power, protection. "Mr. Cole," Miss Vaughn said carefully. "State guidelines require she stays with me," he repeated. temporary care, emergency housing, whatever paperwork you need, I'll sign it. You're offering guardianship. Yes. Leela looked up at him like she had just pushed the world back into place. Miss Vaughn hesitated only a moment before nodding. Given your family's record of civic responsibility, we can approve that for tonight.
He didn't know her. He didn't know her mother. He didn't know their story. But he knew this moment felt right, in a way nothing at Cole Industries ever had. His phone buzzed again. He turned it off. An hour later, a doctor approached with an update. She's stable for now, but she needs rest, nutrition, and a safe environment. The pregnancy is fragile. Relief loosened something inside Adrian's chest. Can we see her? He asked. Briefly, the doctor said. Lila's hand trembled in Adrian's as they walked toward the room where Marie lay connected to monitors, pale but alive. Lights beeped softly. Oxygen hissed. Rain tapped the window like distant fingers. Adrian stood there, staring at the woman he'd carried out of the storm. He felt something inside him shift. He didn't know it yet, but this moment, this quiet, fragile room, was the beginning of the truth that would tear his world apart. Would you have stopped in the rain if you saw Lila selling her bike? Adrian barely slept the night Marie was admitted. He stayed in the chair beside Lila, making sure she didn't wake up alone. Every time she shifted, she reached for his arm to make sure he was still there. By morning, his shirt was wrinkled, his tie undone, and his phone, still off, lay forgotten in his jacket pocket. At 7:08 a.m., the weight of avoiding his father finally pressed in. He stepped into the hallway and turned the phone back on. It exploded with notifications. 8 missed calls, 7 voice messages, 3 texts from his father. Where are you? This is unacceptable, Adrian. The board is waiting. Adrian rubbed the bridge of his nose. He could already hear his father's tone, tight, clipped, disappointed. The same voice that had trained him to put business above everything, even above himself. He locked the phone again without listening. Adrian? He turned. A nurse stood in the doorway. She's awake. The little one wants you. When he stepped back inside, Lila was sitting on the bed, knees drawn to her chest. They said my mommy can't go home yet, she said quietly. She needs to get strong, and she will. She nodded, but kept twisting the blanket between her fingers. You're still staying with me, he added. Her shoulders loosened, but the moment was cut short when a woman from Child Protective Services walked in, different from yesterday's, clipboard ready. Mr. Cole, we need to review placement for the child while her mother remains hospitalized. Lila immediately shrank backward. No, please don't take me. I'll be good. I won't. Adrian moved in front of her before she could finish. She's not going anywhere. That depends, the officer replied, unbothered. Temporary guardianship only lasts for 24 hours unless approved by a supervisor. Lila grabbed Adrian's sleeve, her eyes glassy. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. She stays with me, he said firmly. You can call your supervisor. They'll sign it. Her expression shifted, an unspoken recognition of the Cole name and what it meant. She nodded, made a note on her clipboard, and stepped out. The moment she left, Lila let out a shaky breath and leaned into him. He rested a hand on her back, steady and reassuring. But the lingering tension followed Adrian out of the hospital when he stepped outside to clear his head. Rainwater from last night still clung to the streets, sunlight catching in the puddles. He inhaled deeply. He could walk away now. He could hand everything over to the system, return to the board meeting,
fix the mess with his father, and fall back into line. It would be easier, cleaner, expected. But the memory of Lila standing in the rain with that bike wouldn't leave him. Neither would the sight of Marie lying under that tree. He had never felt so responsible for strangers before. He also had never felt so right. His phone vibrated again. This time, he answered. "Where the hell have you been?" Edward Cole's voice boomed through the speaker, sharp as broken glass. "Do you have any idea what you've done? I had the entire board waiting." "I was dealing with something," Adrian said, keeping his tone neutral. "Something?" Edward snapped. "There is nothing more important than this company. Nothing." Adrian closed his eyes. Decades of conditioning surged up. Obedience, submission, the weight of expectation. It pressed into him like a vice. "I'll be in later," he said. "You'll be here now," Edward corrected. "I won't repeat myself." Adrian hesitated. Long enough for the silence to become defiance. "No," he said simply. His father went quiet, dangerously quiet. "Excuse me?" "I said no. I'll come later. You're making a mistake." Adrian hung up before his resolve cracked. When he walked back inside the hospital room, Lila looked up instantly. "Are they still coming to take me?" "No," he said gently. "You're staying with me until your mom is better." Her shoulders finally lowered. A nurse stepped into the room. "She's asking for you," she said to Lila. Lila scrambled off the bed and hurried to her mother's room. Adrian followed behind her at a respectful distance. Marie was awake, propped up by pillows, with dark circles under her eyes, her skin still pale. When she saw Lila, tears welled instantly. "My baby." Her voice cracked. Lila climbed into her arms carefully. Adrian stayed at the door. Marie's eyes shifted to him, confusion tightening her features. "You're still here? You needed help," he said simply. Her gaze drifted over his suit, his watch, the faint authority in the way staff deferred to him. She wasn't stupid. She knew this kind of help came from someone whose world rarely touched hers. "Why?" she whispered. He didn't have an answer, not one that made sense outside of instinct. "We'll talk when you're stronger," he said. She nodded, though unease still lingered in her eyes, as if she sensed a collision waiting between their worlds. Adrian stood a moment longer, watching mother and child cling to each other. Then he stepped out into the hallway, unaware that the truth he was trying not to question was already pulling him toward a reckoning he couldn't avoid. Tell me in the comments, do you think Adrian is ready for the truth he's walking into? By the time the hospital released Marie for temporary rest, the evening sun was dipping behind the city. The doctors were clear. She needed a stable environment, real meals, warmth, and zero stress. The social worker agreed. Lila refused to let go of Adrian's hand. And Marie, exhausted, shaky, but alert, didn't have the strength to argue when the nurse explained the situation. She needs a place to recover, tonight especially. Marie lifted her eyes to Adrian. "You've done enough," she murmured, her voice barely there. We can go back to the shelter." "No, you can't," he replied firmly. "Not like this." Lila tugged her mother's sleeve. "Mommy, please, I don't want you to be cold." Marie's gaze flicked between her daughter's pleading face and Adrian's steady one. Pride warred with practicality. She hated accepting help. Help had always come with strings. But one look at Lila, and the fight left her shoulders. "Just for tonight," she whispered. Adrian nodded. "That's all I'm asking." His townhouse sat in a quiet neighborhood near the river. Modern, understated, nothing like the sprawling coal mansion the media always photographed. Adrian preferred this space. Muted gray walls, clean lines, warm lighting. Calm. Controlled. When they stepped inside, Marie hesitated, her breath catching. It was the nicest place she'd been in months. Lila froze at the threshold, her small eyes scanning everything. The staircase, the soft couch, the kitchen island gleaming under pendant lights. "You can take off your shoes," he told her, trying to lighten the moment. She nodded but didn't move. She was afraid of messing anything up. Marie stood with one hand on her belly, taking steady breaths. "I'll get blankets," he said quietly, letting them adjust. He went upstairs and opened his storage closet, pulling out fresh bedding. For a moment, he leaned against the wall. He was in deep, deeper than he had planned, deeper than he even understood. But every time he thought about stepping back, he remembered the sight of Marie under the tree, the soaked cardboard sign, Lila's trembling voice. This wasn't something he could walk away from. Not anymore. When he returned downstairs, Marie was sitting carefully on the couch, Lila tucked close against her. Both looked drained, though Marie tried to hide it. "I'll set up the guest room for you," he said softly. "It's on the first floor, so you don't have to climb stairs." Marie nodded slowly. She didn't thank him. Gratitude felt too heavy right now, but the look in her eyes said enough. While Adrian prepared the room, Lila wandered into the kitchen and stopped beside him. "Do you live here alone?" she asked quietly. "Yes." "It's really clean," she said, almost suspicious. "I try." She paused, then carefully picked up the fruit bowl, sniffed an apple, and placed it back exactly where it was. He bent down to meet her eyes. "Are you hungry?" She nodded instantly. "What do you like?" Lila shrugged. "Anything that's warm." The innocence of that answer tugged at something deep inside him. He moved quickly, heating soup, warming bread, slicing fruit. Lila watched every step like it was magic. He brought a tray to the couch. Marie blinked at the food. Her voice was hoarse. I'll eat later." "No," Adrian said gently. "You need to eat now." Lila nudged her mother. "Please, Mommy." Marie swallowed, lifting the spoon with trembling fingers. The first taste almost made her crumble. Real food. Warm. Safe. Adrian looked away to give her dignity. After eating, she laid back against the pillows, hands resting over her stomach. Her breathing eased. "You should rest," Adrian said. She opened her eyes just enough to see him. "You don't know us," she whispered. "You don't owe us anything." "That's not how I see it." Her brows knitted faintly. She didn't respond. Later that night, Lila couldn't sleep. She padded into the living room where Adrian sat reading documents on his laptop. "Can I stay here?" she asked. He closed the laptop instantly. "Of course." She climbed onto the couch beside him and pulled the blanket up to her chin. "Are you gonna leave tomorrow?" she asked. "No." She studied him, trying to see if he meant it. "My mommy says people help for a day, then they go back to their lives." Adrian leaned back, choosing his words carefully. Well, today isn't over yet, and tomorrow, we'll see it together. She considered that, then nodded slowly, reassured in a way she hadn't been in months. Within 10 minutes, she was asleep, head resting against his arm. He stayed absolutely still, afraid to disturb her. In the guest room, Marie opened her eyes and stared at the ceiling. The sheets smelled clean. The pillow was soft. She hadn't felt this safe in so long that it almost hurt. But beneath the relief was a coil of unease. Why was he helping? What did he want? What would he ask for in return? She pressed a hand to her stomach, her unborn child shifting gently beneath her palm. Just tonight, she whispered to herself. But deep down, she already knew that nothing about this man or this moment was going to stay simple. Comment below. Do you think Adrian's kindness is genuine, or is he stepping into a storm he doesn't understand? The next morning arrived quietly, sunlight slipping through the blinds in pale stripes. Adrian had barely slept. Leela had wandered into the guest room at dawn to curl up beside her mother, and he hadn't wanted to interrupt them. He moved through the townhouse silently, making coffee, setting out fruit, unsure how to navigate the day ahead. Marie woke slowly. She blinked at the unfamiliar ceiling before the memories returned. The hospital, the rain, the stranger who carried her, the warm bed that wasn't hers. She sat up carefully, one hand instinctively going to her stomach. Leela stirred. "Mommy? I'm here, baby," she whispered. A moment later, Adrian tapped lightly on the open door. "Good morning." Marie stiffened immediately, not expecting to see him standing there, with soft eyes, coffee in hand, concern written across his face. She hated how safe his presence felt. Safety was a luxury she didn't trust anymore. He set a tray on the bedside table. "You might not feel like eating much, but you need something." Marie nodded without looking at him. "I'll be in the living room if you need me," he said quietly, sensing her tension. When he left, Leela nudged her mother. "He's nice," she whispered. Marie didn't answer. Nice never lasted. An hour later, Marie walked slowly into the living room, supporting her belly with both hands. She looked steadier than yesterday, but still fragile, like one hard truth could break her. Adrian stood when he saw her. "You should be resting." "I can't rest when I don't understand what's happening," she said softly. He motioned toward the couch. "Let's sit." Marie hesitated. She hated this, the vulnerability, the imbalance, the power he had, just by offering a seat, but she lowered herself onto the cushion across from him. Leela sat nearby with a coloring book, though she kept glancing up anxiously. "I know you're confused, and I know you don't owe me anything, but I need to understand how things got this bad. Not out of judgment, just so I can help." Marie looked down at her hands. She rubbed a scar near her thumb, a nervous habit. "You said last night you don't know us." "You were right." Adrian didn't interrupt. He waited.
"My husband died 2 years ago," she began, voice low but steady. "He had a long illness, medical bills piled up. I was already working at Coal Industries then. The job barely covered rent, but it helped." Adrian's chest tightened at the mention of his father's company. Marie continued. "After he died, everything collapsed. I had debt collectors calling every day. The bank wanted to foreclose. My daughter needed school supplies, clothes. I was drowning." Her breath hitched, not from drama, from memory. "I asked for a promotion," she said. "I'd been at the company for years. I thought I earned it." Adrian felt unease ripple through him. Marie swallowed. "The CEO called me to his office." Edward Cole. A shadow crossed her face. "He said he'd always wanted to sleep with a black woman," she whispered, shame tightening every word. "He said if I spent one night with him, the promotion would be mine." Lila looked up, not understanding but feeling the change in her mother's tone. Adrian's stomach knotted. He felt heat rise in his chest, anger, disbelief, disgust, but he forced himself to stay silent so she could finish. I told myself it was one night. I told myself it would save my daughter. And he kept his word. I paid off some debts. I renegotiated my mortgage. I thought that would be the end of it. Her voice grew thinner. But 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant. Adrian's jaw clenched involuntarily. When I told him, he told me to get rid of it. He said I was stupid to think he'd want a child. When I refused, he had me fired. I lost my job, my home, everything. Anyone who tried to help me suddenly couldn't. They were afraid. Fear. Influence. The Cole Empire. Adrian felt sick. Marie closed her eyes. We stayed in shelters, sometimes streets. I tried selling everything I had. Eventually, the bike was the only thing left. Silence filled the room, not empty silence, but suffocating silence, the kind that builds pressure behind the ribs. Lila crawled onto her mother's lap, sensing her pain without understanding the full story. Adrian spoke carefully, voice rougher than before. Marie, why didn't you tell me yesterday? She lifted her eyes to his, and for the first time, there was fire in them. Because men like you come from that world, and men from that world don't save women like me. They destroy us. He flinched, not from offense, but from truth. She continued, your name, the way everyone listens when you speak, the way the social worker didn't argue. I knew you were connected to something powerful. I just didn't know if that made you dangerous. You think I would hurt you? Adrian asked quietly. Marie's eyes glistened. I think you could crush us without meaning to. He looked down, absorbing that. I'm not my father, he said after a moment. Marie shook her head. Everyone thinks they aren't, until it costs them something. Adrian leaned forward. I'm not leaving you in this. She stiffened. You don't have to fix anything. Just let us get on our feet and we'll disappear. No, you shouldn't have to disappear. Her breathing quickened, fear, conflict, exhaustion all colliding. Suddenly, the weight of her own story overwhelmed her. She stood, wobbling slightly. I need air, she whispered. Adrian rose instantly. Take your time, I'll watch Lila. Marie nodded only once before stepping out onto the small balcony, gripping the railing like she needed something solid beneath her hands. Inside, Adrian sat on the edge of the couch, his thoughts louder than the city outside. His father had done this. And he, by blood, by name, by silence, had been part of the world that allowed it. Not anymore. He looked toward the balcony where Marie stood, her silhouette trembling against the morning light. He didn't owe her anything, but his conscience did. Tell me in the comments, what would you do if someone you trusted revealed a truth this heavy? The rest of the day moved quietly, like the world had lowered its volume. After her confession, Marie spent hours resting in the guest room. Her body needed it, but her spirit was restless. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Edward Cole's face, heard his voice, felt the humiliation and the fear. But then she would hear Lila's laugh echo faintly from the living room, and something inside her steadied again. Lila was safe. For now. And that mattered more than anything. In the kitchen, Adrian reheated soup on the stove while Lila sat on a stool, swinging her feet. My mommy likes carrot soup, she said, watching him stir. He smiled softly. Then carrot soup it is. Lila drummed her fingers on the counter. Are you gonna make it taste good? He raised an eyebrow. Are you saying I can't cook? She shrugged. I think you make rich people food?
Adrian laughed, the first genuine laugh he had released in days. "This is regular person food, I promise." From the hallway, Marie hovered in the doorway. She hadn't meant to come out yet, but the sound of laughter pulled her like gravity. For a moment, she simply watched them, Lila animated and bright again, Adrian focused and warm despite his stiff suit sleeves rolled to his elbows. Lila noticed her first. "Mommy, come see, he's making soup." Marie stepped into the kitchen slowly, one hand supporting her abdomen. Adrian's expression shifted instantly, concern flickering across his features. "You shouldn't be on your feet too long," he said gently. "I'm fine," but her voice lacked conviction. He nodded toward a chair. "Sit, please."
Marie hesitated, then lowered herself into the seat. Lila climbed into the one beside her, leaning against her mother's side. "You look better," Adrian offered. Marie gave a small, tired smile. "Food helps." He turned off the stove and carried over 2 bowls. He set one in front of Marie with a quiet reverence, like presenting something fragile. She noticed that, how careful he was. Not calculated, not controlling, just careful. The kind of careful she hadn't experienced in a long time. She tasted the soup. Warm, simple, honest. "It's good," she said. Relief softened Adrian's entire face. "I'm glad." Lila slurped hers loudly. "He did good, Mommy." Marie brushed a hand over her daughter's braids. "He did." For the first time since arriving, the tension between them eased enough to let something gentle through. Later that afternoon, a sudden cramp tightened across Marie's stomach, sharp enough to steal her breath. She gripped the armrest of the couch, eyes squeezing shut. "Mommy?" Lila whispered. Adrian looked up immediately from the dining table where he'd been sorting through a stack of emails. "What's wrong?" "I'm fine," Marie managed, though her voice trembled. He was beside her in seconds. "You're not." He crouched down, lowering his voice so Lila wouldn't panic. "Tell me what you're feeling." "It's normal." Marie tried again. "Pregnancy aches." "That wasn't an ache," he said quietly. Marie hated the vulnerability on her face, hated that he saw it, but the pain didn't let her hide it. He placed a steady hand near her wrist, not touching her stomach, not overstepping, just grounding her. "Breathe with me." She met his eyes, the first time she'd truly looked at him without fear behind it. He inhaled slowly. She followed. He exhaled. She matched. The cramp eased, just a little. Lila climbed onto the couch and curled beside her mother, head on her hip. "Mommy, are you okay?" She stroked her daughter's hair. "I'm okay, baby." Adrian straightened, but didn't step far. "You should lie down. I'll help you." "I can walk," she insisted. He nodded. "All right, I'll walk with you." She rose slowly, leaning on the back of the couch for support. Adrian stayed just behind her, not touching her, not crowding her, just there, solid, present. When she lay back on the guest bed, he adjusted the pillows without asking, making sure her back was supported. She watched him, conflicted. "You don't have to do all this," she whispered. "I'm aware. I want to." She swallowed hard. "You barely know me." "Maybe," said Adrian, "but I know what I saw. And I know what you deserve, which is a lot more than surviving day to day." Something in her expression cracked. Not a breakdown, not tears, just a quiet surrender to the truth that she was tired of holding everything alone. "Thank you,"
she murmured. It was the first time she thanked him, and it landed deeper than she expected. Adrian sat in the chair beside the bed, not leaving until her breathing evened out. Not because he felt obligated, but because leaving didn't feel right. That night, after Marie fell asleep, Adrian stepped onto the balcony. The air was cool, carrying the scent of rain-soaked pavement. He stared at the skyline, glass buildings glinting under the street lamps, thinking about everything Marie had told him. His father's voice echoed faintly in his memory. Cold, commanding, sharp as the empire he built. Adrian closed his eyes. He wanted to protect this woman. Protect her daughter. Protect the child she carried. Not because he was a savior, not because he wanted gratitude, but because it was the first time in his adult life doing the right thing didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like a purpose. Inside, Lila peeked through the doorway. "Are you thinking?" "A little." She came out quietly and stood beside him. "Mommy said when people care, they think a lot." He looked down at her. Maybe she's right. Lila leaned against his arm, small and warm. "Don't stop caring," she whispered. He placed a gentle hand on her head. "I don't plan to." Comment below. Do you think Adrian truly understands the danger he's stepping into? Morning sunlight washed softly across Adrian's townhouse, quiet and warm. The kind of morning that should have brought peace. Lila was in the kitchen eating cereal, swinging her feet against the stool. Marie sat nearby, hands wrapped around a warm mug, still tired but more present than yesterday. He moved around the counter, checking on both of them without making it obvious. For a moment, the world felt steady. Then someone pounded on the door. Not a knock, a command. Adrian froze. The sound hit him like muscle memory, sharp, heavy, unmistakable. Lila flinched, her spoon clattering back into the bowl. Marie went still, rigid with instinctive fear. Another bang shook the door. Adrian's pulse spiked. He walked toward the entrance, every step tense. When he opened it, Edward Cole stood on the porch, perfectly tailored, jaw tight, eyes hard as stone. 3 corporate security men stood behind him.
"Are you out of your mind?" Edward snapped, before Adrian could speak. Adrian stepped outside, pulling the door halfway closed behind him. "What are you doing here?" "What am I doing here?" Edward laughed, a cold, humorless sound. "You miss board meetings, ignore my calls, embarrass this family, and I find out you've been hiding out in this townhouse like a teenager skipping school?" His voice was loud, sharp, built for intimidation. Lila peeked from behind the door. Edward noticed. "And now you have visitors?" Edward spat the word like poison. "Is this why you ignored your responsibilities to play house with charity cases?" The look on Adrian's face shifted, but Edward didn't stop. "I raised you better than this. You don't throw away everything for people like—" "Stop." Adrian's voice cut through the air. Edward's eyes widened, shocked at being interrupted. "Lower your voice," Adrian said, stepping between his father and the doorway. But it was too late. Marie had heard every word. She appeared in the doorway, pale, exhausted, protective. She moved in front of Lila, shielding her instinctively. Edward's eyes landed on her. For a split second, confusion. Then recognition. Then fury. "You," he hissed. Marie's breath caught. Her knuckles went white around the doorframe. "I should have known." Edward said, stepping forward. "Of all the people my son drags into my name, it had to be you." Adrian stiffened. "Dad, do you know who she is, Adrian? Do you have any idea what kind of mess you've brought into this house?" He jabbed a finger toward Marie, toward her stomach. The implication hit like a slap. Marie's face crumpled. Shame, fear, humiliation all colliding. "Mommy?" Lila picked up from behind the door. Adrian stepped forward as if he owned the space, the land, the air itself. "You don't get to waltz back into my life through my son," Edward said. "I fired you, I cleared you out, you were supposed to disappear." Marie's entire body trembled. Something inside Adrian snapped clean in two. "Get out," he said quietly. Edward's head swiveled. "Excuse me? I said get out of my house. This is my property," Edward snarled. "It's mine," Adrian corrected. "You signed it over when I moved back from Boston." Edward's eye twitched. But he wasn't done. "You think you can challenge me over this?" He waved a dismissive hand toward Marie. "She's nothing, Adrian. She is a mistake you don't need to repeat. And that thing she's carrying? Don't." Adrian's voice shook with restrained rage. But Edward pushed anyway. "That child is not your problem, and it never will be. I'm telling you now, let her go. Both of them. Or you're out of the company, out of the inheritance, out of everything." Marie's breath shattered. Lila clutched her mother's leg, confused and terrified. Adrian stared at his father's face, the face he'd tried to please his whole life, the empire he was supposed to protect, the legacy he was meant to inherit. All of it suddenly looked rotten. "You did this," Adrian said quietly. Edward scoffed. "I don't need to justify myself to you. You ruined her life. You used her, you threw her and her child out like trash, and you're still standing here acting like you're the victim." Edward's expression hardened. "Careful," he warned. "No, I'm done being careful." Marie squeezed her eyes shut. She didn't want this. She didn't want him to lose everything because of her. "We should go," she whispered, pulling Lila behind her. "We'll leave. We won't cause trouble." Adrian turned sharply. "Marie, no." Edward smiled viciously. "See, even she understands her place." And that was it. Not the threats, not the insults, not even the intimidation. It was the way he spoke to Marie. Like she wasn't human. Adrian stepped between them entirely. "You are not coming inside, you are not speaking to her, and you are not controlling me anymore." Edward stared at his son, stared hard, trying to read him, break him, bend him back into line. But Adrian didn't look away. Finally, Edward straightened his suit jacket. "You want to choose strangers over your own blood? Fine, but don't expect to walk back into my boardroom." "I'm not planning to," Adrian said. Edward blinked, caught off guard. Adrian held his father's gaze. "Leave. Now." The silence behind those words was final. Edward turned sharply, motioning to his security. They walked back to the car, tension trailing behind them like smoke. Before stepping inside, Edward looked back one last time. "You will regret this," he said quietly. Adrian didn't flinch. "Not as much as you will." Edward's jaw clenched. Then he slammed the car door. The SUV sped away. The moment the sound faded, Marie collapsed into tears. Silent, shaking tears she tried to hide. Lila hugged her tiny arms around her. "Mommy, it's okay. Please don't cry." Adrian closed the door gently. For the first time, the house didn't feel safe. And for the first time since he'd met them, Marie whispered the words he feared most. "We have to leave." Tell me in the comments, if you were Marie, would you stay or run?
"You ungrateful," Edward began, turning to his son.
Adrian held up a hand, calm, cold, unshakable. No, you don't speak to me, or to her, ever again. Edward lunged forward, but security blocked him. The board chair cleared her throat sharply. Effective immediately, Edward Cole is removed as CEO pending criminal investigation. Gasps, a few sighs of relief. Edward's face twisted with rage. You just destroyed everything our family built. No, Adrian said quietly. I saved what little was worth saving. His father was escorted out, and the empire shifted. Later that afternoon, Adrian arrived back at the townhouse, shoulders heavy from the day, but lighter in a way he couldn't explain. When he opened the door, the first thing he saw was Leela building a tower of blocks in the living room. She looked up instantly and ran toward him. You're back, she squealed, wrapping her arms around his waist. Adrian knelt, hugging her gently. Marie appeared behind her, arms folded lightly over her stomach, eyes soft but cautious. She searched his face, reading the outcome before he spoke. It's done, he said. She inhaled slowly, hand tightening around her belly. Relief, real relief, washed through her features, but so did something else. Disbelief that justice had come for her at all. What happens now? She whispered. Now, Adrian said, standing fully, you get your life back. Your job, your housing, your safety, and whatever else you need. Marie blinked fast, overwhelmed. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to, he said. Leela tugged Marie's hand. Mommy, can we stay here a little while? Just until you're strong? Marie hesitated. Months of fear made her slow to trust, slow to accept anything permanent. But then she looked at her daughter, smiling for the first time in forever, and she looked at Adrian, the man who stood between them and a monster. And the answer came easier than she expected. Yes, she whispered. Leela cheered. Adrian smiled, small, quiet, but genuine. Outside, the sun dipped lower, painting the living room in a warm amber glow. For the first time in months, the world didn't feel like it was closing in on Marie. It felt like it was opening. And Leela, clutching a brand new red bike Adrian bought her earlier that evening, hopped on and pedaled across the living room rug with a laugh that filled the home. A full circle moment. This time, she didn't have to sell it. She just got to be a child again.
Hi, story lovers! Thank you for watching this story to the end. This story reminds us that no secret is ever truly buried. Karma always takes its course. Please like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like this one. And hey, we would like to get to 1,000 subscribers.